can't see him right now. I'll try to put in some footage. But I'm surrounded by literal piles of books. So this is gonna take a while. Part of these I got for my birthday. Part of these were from my travels. And then I just recently picked up some more on our vacation. So buckle up. We are going to jump in and get started. This may end up being 2 parts because I don't know how long it's going to take. Okay, let's do it. So I don't remember exactly where I got all of these, other than the ones I got for my birthday. And I've been collecting them for several months, so I'll put on the screen like when my last book haul was, because I don't even remember that for sure. So I will just get started. Let's just jump in. I'll start off with a few of the hardback ones that I picked up. One of my favorite books of all time is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. And I recently read another of Betty Smith's books called Joy in the Morning. And I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it as much as A Tree Grows, but it was quite a bit shorter than A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. But I saw this at someplace. I don't even know. Probably my used bookstore. Let's see, there is a little thing in a little pencil notation, but I picked up Maggie Now by Betty Smith, and it says, this is the story of Maggie Now, who grew up with the green young century among immigrant Irish and Germans of Brooklyn. Maggie Now was one of the givers of the world, and inevitably she attracted learners as a post attracts ivy. So I'm anxious to find out if I love this one as much as A Tree Grows. It's hard to believe that I could love anything that she writes more than A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. Then I also picked up another Mary Stewart. This is This Rough Magic. I love this cover. It says, when Lucy Waring came to Corfu to visit her sister, she was elated to discover that the castello above their villa had been rented by Sir Julian Gale. And that's all I'm going to read about it, because I love being surprised by Mary Stewart. She writes such great mystery, but more than anything, the sense of place that you get in her books, and the place is almost a character in and of itself. So really looking forward to this one. Looking forward to all of these. I do know I found this one and the next one for free. And so I found Michael J. Fox, Lucky Man. This was his first published book. And I found this just in a box alongside the road. And I really like Michael J. Fox. Of course, he's my generation. He's, somebody that I watched when I was growing up, but I've since watched other things with him, interviews and just things about the foundation that he started. And so I'm really anxious to see how I enjoy this one. I'm not a big one for memoirs or biographies or autobiographies, but sometimes. So I'm hoping this is one of those times. I say I'm not a big one for biographies, and then the very next one I'm showing you is a biography. This is the biography of Martin Luther by Eric Metaxas. I recently read Bonhoeffer by Metaxas, and I really, really liked it. This one, of course, is going to be about Martin Luther, who was the reformer of Christendom back in, what, 1500s. And he is most famous, of course, for nailing his 95 thesis to the Wittenberg chapel doors, and just kind of calling out this reformation that needed to happen in the way that we read the word and respond to it. But he was much more than that. And I'm just looking forward to Eric Metaxas's take on it, because I really did enjoy Bonhoeffer. This monster I found somewhere as well. I don't know. Let's see. Is this one also? No. It was either a little free library or maybe Goodwill, something like that. But this is Villages of Britain, 500 Villages That Made the Countryside by Clive Aslett. And I'm just going to be using this as a reference, basically. Every time I stumble across a village in my reading of Victorian literature or in my reading of Regency literature or anything like that, I'm going to be looking it up in here because I want to know more about those villages. And I love the English countryside, as most people do. So let's do some birthday things. So one of the things I'll show you, I got to meet up with Tiffany and her daughter Claire. And Claire has been making for a while these fork, spoon, or knife people. And she made me one. Let's see. There you go. And this little book that she is holding says, How to Be Awesome Like Dia. And she wrote an entire book on how to be awesome. It is an actual book. It's got little pages. It's absolutely charming. I love Claire, and the feeling is mutual. As you can see, we love each other dearly. She is just the best. So I'm the proud owner of one of Claire's knife people. I was sent a card by my friend Heather from Water Bear Reads, and just a little birthday note. She sent a sticker inside, and it has Pride of Place on my computer. It's a badger, which I love. I absolutely adore badgers. I don't know if she knew that or not, but they're like one of my favorite creatures ever. And so I got a badger sticker and this beautiful little card that she wrote a note in for me. I picked this up with some birthday money because I would really love to collect all of these, but so far this and the Christmas one are the only ones that I have. So I picked up Vera the Mouse, Vera in the Garden by Marjolaine Bastian, and she not only wrote it, but she illustrated it. And it's just the sweetest little story about Vera's garden, which I am a gardener. I do love to garden. My niece found a series that she absolutely loved, and she always passes on her love of books to me, and I reciprocate. This is Wormwood Abby, and this is by Christina Bear. This is the first in a series. I've already read it. I'm already looking forward to more reading in this series as a result of this one. I thought this was really, really well done, and I'll be talking about it more in my wrap-up because it was one of the first ones I completed in June. My father-in-law for a couple of years now, few years, has been writing with the Storyworth app, and he finally bound up the first, 10, 15 stories that he wrote with the app. And so he sent this to me for my birthday. And it's just a collection of life stories by my father-in-law. I've already read a couple of them. I just haven't read the whole thing yet. And then Tiffany, when I met up with her, handed me my gift. And I waited until my birthday to open it. And it was this lovely copy of Persuasion by Jane Austen. And it's laser cut and it's got a protective covering on it. And this is my favorite Austen. She knew that. But I didn't own this version of it. And it's just beautiful. Absolutely lovely. It does have sprayed edges. Looks like it's the same on the back as it is on the front. I was sent the Black Tulip by Alexander Dumas. This is a book that I read with Tiffany's Patreon not long ago, and it was such a romp. It was a romp. It was so much fun. It had some heavier moments in it, but they were literal blips in comparison to the rest of this book. It was just such a good time. So this was sent to me so kindly from Chrissy at Chrissy's Purple Library for my birthday, and I love it. The next ones I got are not the people that want to be mentioned, but they're all through BookTube community. They could be subscribers or commenters, or they could be other channels, but they didn't really want me to say, hey, this is from so-and-so. But very excitingly, I was sent 2 Ray Bradberry books. This one is called Listen to the Echo, or Echoes, the Ray Bradberry interviews. So these are all interviews, and I love this cover. And here's the back. And I'm so excited to read this. Ray Bradberry is one of my very favorite authors. They knew that. And I have read, I think, 9/10 of what he put out as far as fiction goes. Speaking of which, they also sent me this, Farewell to Summer. And this is the sequel to my very favorite Bradberry, which is Dandelion Wine. I have read, but I don't remember much about it. I've only read it one time, which is very unusual for me in a Bradberry book. So both of these were sent to me by the same person for my birthday. I'm very thankful. Another one that doesn't want to be mentioned, but they know how crunchy of a person I am. I try to do things as naturally as possible. I don't mess around with things, that need an antibiotic or something like that. But I try to grow things in my garden every year. I try to put those things up, preserve them in some kind of way. I try to do remedies that are, environmentally and physically safe. And so anyway, they sent me this Fire Cider, 101 zesty recipes for health boosting remedies made with apple cider vinegar. And it's by Rosemary Gladstar and Friends. Isn't this just, look at the back. just, and it is full of art as well as recipes. I've started reading it. I'm not very far in yet. I'm making sure to read like all of the little things as we go. It's wonderful. Thank you. And then this one might be my very favorite thing that I have received in a very long time. This is the Little Prince pop-up book. Now, I collect The Little Prince in all kinds of versions, and I already have a pop-up, but it was not done by Louise Grieg. I'm going to show you my Little Prince collection, and I'll show you the 2 pop-ups and all of the other ones that I have. I'm just so excited about this and so in love with the artwork, and just thank you. Thank you so much for this. It's just lovely. Tiffany also gave to me a thing of coffee, and I have been drinking it sparingly. I took it on vacation with us, and so we got to sit out and listen to the birds and look at the lake and hear the trains go by and all of that while sipping the battleground or battlefield coffee that Tiffany sent me. Okay, and then lastly, I received from Victoria at a Musical Bookworm. She sent me this Bibliophilia ephemera, and it is stickers. It's all stickers for different things that I can use for my journaling. And she sent me another little package of stickers too. So I just love it. I'm very, very excited to use them. The other ones are just as cute. All right, so Daughter of Time by Josephine Tey. Did I already have this? I can't remember. If I have hauled it before, forgive me. I got this because I really, really wanted to read it. I have read it. I love it. And I liked it so much that I actually ordered another one of her books of this same Inspector Grant series that she wrote. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if I like another one of hers as much as I liked this one. This is one of the best mysteries I've ever read. One of my favorite authors is Paul Gallico, and I have seen this movie and had no idea that he wrote the book, and that is the Poseidon Adventure. So I went ahead and picked this up when I saw that it was by him, and it's a lovely little orange spine penguin edition. I can't believe that there is an adult Paul Gallico book that I haven't read, a novel. He wrote some nonfiction as well. In fact, he was most famous, I think, for his sports writing, which I probably will never read, but I will read his novels. So, The Poseidon Adventure. This is Wolfram von Eschenbach Parzival. And I just recently reread Ready Player One, and the main character in the computer world is his avatar's name is Parzival, and so he based it on this character from King Arthur, and I just want to read it, see what it's like. Picked up In This House of Breed by Rumer Godden. I have enjoyed every Rumer Godden I've ever read, but I think I've only read 3, and 2 of them were children's books. So I'm looking forward to reading this one and seeing what I think of something that's quite a bit longer than any of her kids' books. And also just, I I think it's kind of a family saga, and that's not necessarily my thing, but I'm looking forward to seeing if I get along with this. This I found at my used bookstore. I'm 90% sure. This is Sir Walter Scott's Quentyn Derward, and it's edited by Charlotte Mary Young. And I just love that. Besides the fact that it's just this beautiful old little copy, published in 1884. The pages are really thick paper. So it's probably even shorter than it looks because of how thick the paper is. It's another one that was in that free box, but I thought, it's free. I'll try it. And that is The Throne of Five Winds by S.C. Emmet. And it's the first in a series, Hostage of Empire. And I don't know if I'm going to get along with it or not, but it does have a blurb by Tasha Surrey, who I have enjoyed. And it says, not all empires are won on the battlefield. And then this one is a nonfiction that I picked up because I had read the novel Cure by this author, or these authors, and this is the story Cure, and this is so lovely. I don't know if you can see the shininess of the gold on it. This is by Ella Berthoud and Susan Elderkin, and this cover is so wonderful. Here's the back. And it's just about books for kids and what about those books is special. All right, we still have quite a few. This is Suetonius, the 12 Caesars. And it's a lovely little penguin. And I picked this up because I have read both I, Claudius and Augustus Caesar. I, Claudius by Robert Graves, and Augustus Caesar by, or Augustus, I guess, by John Williams. And I just want to know more about the other Caesars, and so I picked this up for that reason. Euripides, the Bacchae, and other plays. And I heard Carolyn from Cleopatra talking about this play in particular, and I have never read it, and so I wanted to read it. She said this one was really worth reading, and I've come to really appreciate her take on literature, and so I am excited to get to this. I am a sucker for gardening books. I picked up From the Ground Up, the story of A First Garden by Amy Stewart, and that's literally what this is. Crypto and Una over at the Codex Cantina constantly have talked about Jean Toomer, and I picked up Cain. It was really, really inexpensive, and I just thought they rave about this author and enjoy them immensely, and so I thought I'm gonna give it a try because I like Crypto and Una. I think this one also was from Goodwill. I picked this up. Marcel Pagnol, My Father's Glory and My Mother's Castle. It's 2 books. My Father's Glory being one, My Mother's Castle being the other. And I don't know anything about this. I just thought it sounded like something I might enjoy, just from the 2 titles. And this is, I think, France. It's either France or Italy, not sure which. A couple years ago, I read Babette's Feast by Isaac Dinesen and absolutely loved it. I thought it was wonderful. And I saw this when I was in Tennessee with Tiffany at McKay's. We were book shopping and I saw this, and I don't know if I'm going to like it or not, but it's short stories by Isaac Dinesen, or Karen Blixen is her real name. So we'll see about that one. This book I picked up because, number one, it's so vintage, but I have some very sweet memories from having this book when my kids were growing up, especially. This is Cheaper by the Dozen, and this is by Frank Gilbreth Jr. and Ernestine Gilbreth Carey. And this is very, very different from the newer movies that are out there. So if you've only seen the movies, give the book a try, because it is completely different. If you've seen the black and white movie, it's very much like that one. My sweet memory with this is that my grandfather came to visit us when my kids were still young, probably 18, 16, and 14. And my daughter had a copy of this book in hardcover, and right next to the chair that my grandpa would sit in every single day was this book. It was just laying on the table next to the chair. And my grandpa had started into about midway into having Alzheimer's or dementia, and was very, very forgetful. And one of the things that he would do is he would pick up this book when he would sit down in that chair, and he would open it up, and he would just start laughing to the point where there were tears on his face. And he would laugh, and eventually, while he was reading it, he would fall asleep. And so I would take the book off his lap and I would set it next to the chair again, and just let him take his afternoon nap right there in the chair. And when he would wake up, he would forget what he had read, and he would start all over and start again with the laughter and the tears. And I love that memory. And so when I saw this, I thought, it is not a hardcover, it's not the edition that we had, but it is an edition of it, and I am so happy to have it. Dave from Book Blather, Dave and Olive, and I have been reading through the Tarzan series, and I already have our next one, which is book 8. But I found this at a little shop that's going out of business, and they had more than this, but they didn't have 10 or 11, and this is 9. So I have 8 when Dave is ready to read it, and I have 9 when Dave is ready to read it. Another Mary Stewart with a great cover. This one is Thunder on the Right by Mary Stewart. And look at this cover, you guys. This is just epic. It says it's a highly charged romantic thriller. Mary Stewart writes mysteries with a little bit of a thrill, and usually a very unhealthy, toxic relationship of some sort. And I go into them knowing that, and end up really enjoying the ride. She has some of the best writing when it comes to the place and putting you into that setting. And so, anyway, Thunder on the Right. I already have a copy of this, but I do not have this version of it. And it it makes it even more special since I got the sequel to it as a gift, and that is Dandelion Wine. This is my favorite Bradberry, as I said before, and Farewell to Summer and this are now, I have both hardcover editions. I have a paperback version that I've had for ages. Now I have this one, and I'm very happy about it. A book that I have already read, but I very seldom find this cover, and I've never owned this book before. So this is The Story of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang, and I just love this cover. Some of the most fascinating thought experiments I've ever read, and just beautiful. So this is one of two. I'm not sure he has any more. I think it might just be the two Ted Chiang's. I've read Exhalation and I've read this one. In case you don't know, this is what the movie Arrival was based on, one of the stories in here. Another one whose true stories I enjoy more than his fiction is Wendell Berry. And I read one of his book of essays earlier in the year, and I really, really liked it. Some of them I liked more than others, but this is Wendell Berry, Bring It to the Table, on farming and food. And once again, there's an introduction by Michael Pollan, who I have also enjoyed his food writing. And it says, a significant part of the pleasure of eating is in one's accurate consciousness of the lives and the world from where that food comes. And so I think I'm gonna love it. You know, I love gardening. I grew up on a ranch, all of that kind of thing. Oh, this was another birthday gift and I missed it. I'm so sorry. Another one that doesn't want to be mentioned though. This is Bee and Fly, or The Bee and the Fly, and it's the improbable correspondence of Louisa May Alcott and Emily Dickinson by Lorraine Tosiello and Jane Cavallina. I had never heard of this before. I love Louisa May Alcott. I love Emily Dickinson. But then on top of that, she got this at Shakespeare & Co. It came a little bit bent right here, but that's okay. And then on top of that, it also came signed by the authors. It's got a little Shakespeare & Co. But when I saw this, I actually ordered it for a friend because she also loves Louisa May Alcott, and she loves letters and journals and all of that kind of thing. And I thought, this sounds right up her alley. So I ordered a copy for her as well. So thank you for this. I really am looking forward to reading it and finding out how I get along with this set of letters. More. We're almost done. I love Little Prince, as I said. This is Nightflight by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, and he writes all of his books based on his own experiences. And this one is tiny. It's really short. It is 87 pages, and I love The Little Prince so much. I'm almost afraid to read more by him because I just don't want it to ruin my experience of The Little Prince. But I'm really excited to try it, and just am crossing my fingers that I love it as much. While I was with Tiffany, I picked up The Crucible. This is by Arthur Miller, and I think it takes place in Massachusetts during the time of like the witch trials, and that is about all that I know. but I thought that I would give it a try. I have read Death of a Salesman by this author, and I didn't like it. So we'll see if this one is more something that I can get behind. You all know, you should know if you've been around here, that I have really fallen in love with Gabrielle Waugh over the last few years as I have begun to read her works. And every time I come across one of hers in English, I try to get it, as long as it's for a decent price. And I have one on my shelf that I have not read yet. That is Windflower. And then I also have Enchanted Summer. And I don't know what either of them are about. Again, very small. I think this was written later in her life. 125 pages. My friend Sandra and I plan to read this together. I've been reading all of my Waugh with Sandra, and I can't wait to do another one with her. We always have such rich conversation when we're reading together. Under Western Eyes by Joseph Conrad. I have been reinvigorated to be reading Conrad. Most of what I have read of his I have liked or really liked. There's only been one that I've been like, I like the writing, but I really had a hard time with the story. I'm not a war person, and this is very much about a war. And so I'm hesitant to read this, and yet at the same time, like I said, I've enjoyed most of what I have read by him. Trying it. Let's see how I do with this war book. I have been getting into reading more and more Pulitzer winners, and I picked up A Bell for Adano, and this is by John Hershey. I think it has something to do with after a war, a soldier helping to bring a bell back to the church tower. I'm not sure. I was looking for a completely different book by this author and could not find it, but I kept coming across this one, and it has a quote by Ian Fleming on it that says, beautifully sustained atmosphere, adds poetry and real mystery, and it's called The Riddle of the Sands by Erskine Childers. And it's in this modern library edition, which I am a sucker for, I will admit. It's the same thing with Under the Western Eyes. I don't know what this is about, but I just thought I'll give it a try. So, last two, and these two are by the same author. One of my favorite books of the year a couple of years ago was This Is Happiness by Niall Williams. This is by Williams and his wife, Christine Breen. And this is When Summer in the Meadow. And I think that it has to do with when they moved back to Ireland, like when they start their family and all of that kind of thing. And so it sounds like the perfect read for summer. So I think I might be picking this up very soon. This one, however, I have already read, and I read it before I bought it. It ended up being a Christmas story, and I didn't even care. I was just like, it might be May, I don't care, I want to read it. And so I picked up Time of the Child by Niall Williams. And this very much reminds me of this. It has a very similar feel to Claire Keegan's Small Things Like These and Foster, if you were to combine those two, because the story revolves around a child who is kind of left on a doorstep because unwed pregnancy was such a stigma in the day and age that this takes place in. And it is about a father and his grown up daughter, and the way that they take in this child, and then what that does to their community and them as a result of finding so much to love. And so I absolutely adored this, and I expect to absolutely adore this one. All right. Thank you for joining me. If you see something in these stacks that I didn't say that I've already read, recently, like Time of the Child, if you see something that you think you'd like to buddy read, let me know, because I'm always willing. And these are all like bright and shiny and new, and I want to read them, even though I have a lot on my TBR shelf that I need to read still. All right, I'm going to let you go. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have the best rest of your day, and I'll see you in another video again very soon. Bye, everyone.